Why is authority important? Can anyone put in the chat? Why is authority important? In our line of business, where we are speaking to prospects who are potentially in different lines of business, why is authority why is authority important? Karna says to control the call. Okay. They need the confidence to trust you. Yes. It lends credibility, more conviction to build trust. Yes. To maintain control. Authority builds trust. People don't buy from people who don't trust, right? So basically, yes, to show our knowledge also as an expert. So that is, all of you have actually nailed it on the head. The answer is an authority makes you credible, right? It's a form of credibility, and it gives you that weight and to be able to speak about a certain topic or to be in that certain place. So when we position ourselves as client success advisors or enrollment coaches or whatever it might be, even consultants, marketing consultants, we are already projecting them to say that they are going to be speaking to a person who is an expert. All right. So that's why it's important, because that's going to increase the chances of them coming on the call. It's going to increase the chances of them listening to you. Now, that's all great, but what is authority exactly? What would you say is authority? Put in the chat. What is authority? We've talked about why is authority important, but what is it exactly? What do we say it is? You're representative of your company. If you don't have authority, you aren't representing it. Okay, expertise. All right. Any other answers? Legitimacy, dominating, expert positioning. Right. I think the last few is a little bit more accurate. So basically, authority is the power or the right given to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience, right? At the end of the day, you want to be the person who's in control, right? This is the thing. The person who's asking the questions is in control of the conversation. So you want to be that control. You want to be giving the orders, you want to be making the decisions, and you want to enforce that obedience. So that is basically what authority is. Now, obviously, when you get on the call, you don't want to be like, you listen to me, otherwise I'm going to kill you, right? You want to do that in a right way. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. What is it that thing? Now, I'm going to show you some pictures here, and I want you to tell me what comes to your mind when you see this. Put in the chat one word that comes to mind when you see these pictures. Alpha, powerful, fierce, wild. All right. Fierce. Okay. Anything else? Dominating cult creature, right? Leaders who lead the tribe. Okay. Power, strength, ferocious ruler. So all of these creatures here have some sort of persona about them, right? You look at the lion, he's majestic, he's got this air about himself. The elephant is rugged, but so intelligent, so wise. The gorilla, powerful, strong statement, strength, but still his poise is so elegant. The alligator, he'll bite your head off, but he can be, very chill, even if he wants to. He can be least bothered as well if you don't disturb him. The shark as well, looks very, very fierce, but actually, if you leave him alone, he's not really going to bother you that much, right? But when you look at them, when you see them at first glance, right, this visual that you're seeing of them is a representation of them, right? You're seeing a persona, you're seeing some character in this picture. They don't even have to open their mouth or say anything, right? But if I had shown you a picture like this, would you think that this guy is fierce and authoritative and has all the strength? I mean, I don't know. Yes? Right? I mean, yeah, he looks funny. He's just like, he doesn't look, he looks cuddly, and I just want to play with him and maybe, just whatever. I don't feel like I don't feel scared anymore. I'm not bothered by him. I don't have any, I can probably laugh at him. That's it, right? So this is the big difference, guys. Look at this And then look at this, right? Now, when it comes to being a closer, what animal do you think we are? What animal do you think we are as closers? The lion, okay. Ashu says squirrel, okay. What else? What else? Come on, guys. Shubham doesn't know. Okay, he's waiting for the answer. All right. Eagle. That's a good one. Right? Not the lion on the screen. I get that. So lion and elephant. So these are a few things. But what I would really say that we are as closers and what we have to do is something which I'm going to just show you now. But what I really want to get to in a bit is how can you build your authority, right? At the end of the day, we want you to build your authority to be able to handle those kind of characters or those kind of personalities, right? Because those are also prospect types as well. You're going to look at them and say, whoa, this guy sounds scary, or this guy is difficult. So that's something which we're going to be able to see as well. But at the end of the day, whether you're a lion, whether you're a gorilla, whether you're a shark, each of those creatures can dominate each other, right? And I believe, based on what we've been doing and everything, I believe that the perfect animal that it represents us as closers is the octopus. Why? Well, one, it has a lot of heart. It has 3 hearts. It can camouflage itself, which means it can adapt to an environment. It can change around. It's flexible. It can squeeze into small places, which means it's adaptable. Yes, we can manage in these limitations. We can do it no matter what. Extremely fast, right? We get things done. We get things closed, and very intelligent. It's got this huge brain, right? So do you feel that if any of those creatures were to come into the water and have to face the octopus, do you think the octopus will win or lose? Put in the chat. What do you think? Do you think that each and every creature that you saw or animal from that kingdom, if they were to come across the octopus, do you think it will win or lose? It destroys the competition. All right, it'll win. Yeah, because it is a being like no other, right? We as closers, we're a special breed of people, right? And we carry that torch of being able to help every other type of animal and any type of person out there. So that's where we say that the importance of being a closer and really building your authority is showcasing your powerful frame and having a deep understanding of human psychology, right? So if you can showcase your powerful frame and have a deep understanding of what human psychology is, you will be able to automatically begin to build your authority, right? So when 2 powerful frames collide, only one will win. I'll repeat, when 2 powerful frames collide, only one can win. So you look at a boxing match, right? 2 power guys are walking in, and when we get on a call, you're going to be speaking to CEOs, you're going to be speaking to people who have a certain power in them. And yeah, they can be nice, but if you bring out their their bad side where they see you as a salesperson, you're going to get destroyed. They're going to be like, I don't want to speak to you. Please hang up. Even the nicest guys I've seen, who are like, sorry, I don't, thank you very much. Bye-bye. They're saying, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Even the nicest guys, but they just don't want to speak, right? The person who called, his frame was destroyed. How can your frame not be destroyed? And how can you get to a point where you're going to be able to make sure that that person who you're speaking to gets to understand that you are a person of authority who they should listen to? So to win over your prospects, you must first know yourself. And how many of you know about the DISC profile? How many of you have done a DISC assessment profile? Let me just quickly open up this Windows here. Okay, Karna has done it. Yes, Abhyant has done it. Okay, perfect. So you guys will understand, some of you understand what this disc profile really means. So the disc profile basically generally splits up humans into these four broad categories, where you have the dominant, the influential, the steady, and the compliant. Right? The dominant and the compliant are task focused, means that they are focused on the task. They're very logical. They like results. The influential and the steady, they're focused on the people. They're more emotional. They have that kind of feel for people. Whereas the dominant and the influential are more active, as in more, you would say, more extrovert or outgoing, as like that. But the compliant and the steady are more reflective. They think a lot. They want to absorb. They want to, yeah, I'm not so sure. They're not so sure, right? So these are the major, what you probably, some of you might have heard about the gems, right? That the gems are there, the ruby, sapphire, emerald, and ruby, sapphire, emerald, and what was the last one? Anyone can put that. Pearl, yes, pearl, correct. So this is a similar sort of breakup. And Brian Tracy has his own version. Dan Locke has his own version. Every single coach who has come up with this program has their own version of this. But instead of coming up with our own version, where I called it dog, cat, goat, and horse, or something like that, I thought let's just go back to the original, the root of where it actually developed from, and then that way we'll be able to kind of understand it at its basic core level. So let's talk about the dominant. The dominant people are usually direct. They're very decisive. They're doers. Negative categories could be that they domineering, they very demanding. I want it now. I don't care. That kind of types. The influential are very inspirational, interactive. They're interesting, but they can be impulsive and sometimes very, very irritating. The steady, which is compared to the pearl, which some of you might know, are very stable, sensitive, sincere. They usually speak very slowly and softly, and they're very, very high emotional quotient people. And then we've got compliant, which is what we call what we usually know as the emerald, which is the logical type. He's careful, he's cautious, he look through things 100 times. And unfortunately for us in India, and I would say 90% of our prospects are in this zone, the compliance zone, where that's how they usually are. And also you can be a mix of a few more. So you have your dominating personality type, and you can be a bit of the others as well. So someone was asking me what is my style over here. So I took the assessment thanks to Dan Locke about 4 or 5 years ago, and then I've recently taken it again. Nothing much has changed since then, but typically you have a natural style, which is more or less what your internal feelings are, and then you have your external type, which is what you adapt to your environment and how you work, right? So my internal type in this case is where I'm a very high I, right? And I'm working on the average and over here. And then when it comes to the adaptive, that's when I become a high D, right? Because I need to be the leader. I need to be the boss. I need to be that person who's taking decisions very quickly. So that's my external, but many of you might not know I'm actually an introvert. I don't typically, have to be in that state. But if I have to turn on that when I'm speaking to people, I can really adapt to that. So that's how I understand my personality, and I'm able to adapt accordingly. And as you notice, it's also great to have a kind of like a mix of sorts, but you will have a dominating and a not so dominating category. So what is your disc profile? What does your disc profile say about you? I want everyone to, do their disc personality test using this website. Just take a screenshot if you want. We'll also be adding this link to the assignments. Go there, answer those 12 to 15 questions, and submit your disc profile onto our Graphy account. This is going to tell you a lot about who you are and give you some clarity on the kind of person you are as well, if you don't already know. at least then you can start to understand how other people also work in that way. Is this making sense, guys? Are you going to feel that ability that you can really understand more of yourself? Put in the chat. So how can we help prospects make a breakthrough using this information, right? You got to know how you can really help them make a breakthrough. So when it comes to breaking a breakthrough, it's all about creating clarity, and every single type of personality is different. When you look at the dominant personality, he is more concerned about you being confident in front of him, right? Like for me, I'm very, very categorical that everyone shows up on time, looks great, and all these things are very important for me. So that's something which, is important to be. You should be confident. You should compliment them with authenticity. You shouldn't just say, oh, you look great, something like that. You should say, wow, you look really fantastic today. I really like your shirt. Thank you. So you start to work and build that rapport. You tell them success stories because they're not interested in the minute details. They want to hear about the results, right? And they also have this fear of losing control. So you have to be very careful with the dominant types, because it's a struggle up and down. You'll have to do. You have to give a little bit of a loose rope here and there, and then bring them back as they go along. If you're going to catch them like this and say, I am the dominant one, they're going to like immediately repel, and then they're going to go off. So you have to be able to understand how to control them without, letting them, feel, oh, this guy's trying to dominate me. It has to be a very subtle dominance, you can say. And of course, ask why questions. This is something that's very important. Why is it that you haven't been able to get the results so far? I'm curious. And why do you think, that particular agency that was helping you did that? Oh, they did that because that was the strategy. And why do you think they came up with that strategy? So you notice that I'm going deep into this as to I'm just going on asking why questions. They will eventually open up to you in a different way. Coming to the influential, right? So these guys are upbeat. They're always positive. They like to have the high energy. They focus on what motivates them. And they like to talk a lot, right? So this, if you get them talking about themselves, these are the people you got to be careful of. And say, excuse me, 1 second, slow down, So you will have to control them in the conversation so that you'll be able to actually get to the root. And typically the influential people like to be very surface level. They don't like to go deep, because that kind of breaks out of their character. So you want to really, again, ask more why questions to get to the root of what's going on. But the important thing is focus on what is their motivation. Why do you want to do this? Here, before we're talking about the dominant persons, what about what are the results? Here is, why do you want to do this? What motivates you to get out of bed and want to do this? So these are the questions which are going to help that influential person open up to you. Next comes the steady. Steady is typically the very caring person. So usually whenever I speak to someone who's a pearl, I always lower my volume. I'm not this loud person that you guys are hearing now. I always lower my volume, and and that person will pick up. I'm sure some of you have these people who are like, hello, yes, they're very calm, they're very sweet, but if you get on their bad side, you're screwed. But you got to like have the yes. So then I speak very calm. Hi, how are you? Is everything great today? Yes, awesome. That's superb. So the reason for this call, actually, Priya, is that we wanted to get to the root, blah, 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 blah. But I'll bring it down, right? This is very important, because if you're screaming at them, they're like, are you screaming at me? My mind is hurting. And always, again, coming down to right questions. These are the kind of people who like to be related to, right? Typically, most of the other gems, they like to be talking about themselves, but the steady or the pearl, they will be very open to having a very open conversation with you. Many times I've been on conversations where I've broken down and spoken to that person, and that person has kind of gotten down to my pain, because a lot of them are doctors, psychologists, health workers, nurses. Also, they tend to be in these professions that are very caring. So that's why, again, they also have this very attractive persona about them that makes you want to open up, speak to them. Then you've got the compliant. Oh, these are the types that are someones who we have to deal with on a regular basis, and without a doubt, the most toughest nuts to crack. So you have to be professional, you have to be respectful of their time, systematic, logical, make sure that you are explaining the process from end to end. They love numbers. If you can show them like graphs and Excel sheets and show them how a process can go from A to B and then to Z, they will be like, wow, I love you, right? So these are the kind of people who typically like that details. They need a lot of information to make it right? So that way it's all based on logic. So which means to get them to open up emotionally is very, very, very hard, right? But it's not impossible. It is possible, right? The other day I was having a conversation with one prospect, and after the fourth meeting, I finally got him to laugh. I was like trying so hard for the first two meetings. For the fourth meeting, finally he said, I was like, wow, Harjit, you laughed. Awesome. So I'm just saying, this is something which, again, they know they're like this and they have to put on this kind of persona as well. So remember that there is whatever you're seeing also is the adaptive personality, right? When you get to know some of these guys, they're as soft as a teddy bear most of the time, right? But you are seeing their adaptive personality and that's exactly what you got to get through. That's what you got. That's the frame that you got to break. I talked about when two frames collide, only one will survive, right? Only one will win. So that's the frame you got to break. So knowing all of this, when you get onto a call, right, you have to keep all these things in mind about how you're going to be dealing with each kind of personality. Is this making sense to everyone? There are more types of personalities, obviously, but I don't want to get into too much detail of this. This is a vast topic by itself, but this gives you a general idea. And as you go along, like right now, I'm able to identify the personality type within the first 15 to 20 seconds when I speak to someone. That's what you got to realize. When you pick up the phone, you start speaking, the first question you need to ask yourself, what personality type is this person, right? And then you're going to tailor your approach accordingly.